Guy's here at Kenny Porter's home, actually. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm cool, man. Everything's good.
All right, man. Let's just talk about, what's been going on the last few days. Shawn made an announcement. There was a retort and everything. As best you can, just tell us what's going on. For those of you that don't know, we're talking about Shawn Porter versus Porter-Berto.
I don't think it was really, I don't think it was as much a negative situation as Andre is putting it out to be. Instead of him basically saying, yes, I know about this fight. Yes, I've been contacted about this fight. And yes, we possibly could be fighting. He's going the other direction and saying he don't know anything about it. Nobody contacted him. And pretty much, saying, that Shawn and maybe Shawn and myself are trying to put together a fight without, going through the proper channels and doing things the way they're supposed to be done from a business standpoint. But that's not the case here. The case here has been from the top, hey, you guys can put this, we can make this fight with you and Porter-Berto. Andre got on the FaceTime with Shawn and said, yes, we can do it. But then every time you see him, his response is totally the other direction. It's totally against anything that we're talking about, and he keeps riding his horse on, oh, you got to talk to the right people, and if it makes business sense, then we can do it. But everything is in place. If you're fighting Shawn Porter, and I'm glad to be able to say that, at least it's open for consideration here, but if you're fighting Shawn Porter, you're fighting in a main event fight, you're fighting on a major network, and you're fighting for 7 figures. So what seems to be the problem with you taking the fight, other than you don't want to take that fight? Mm-hmm. That's the only thing I can say.
Well, I just think it's a whole lot of posturing as it relates to Porter-Berto. I'm going to quote Porter-Berto maybe once or twice. In 2017, there's no, what we're doing, I'm trying to quote him, he says,
the one on the
no ducking season, basically.
No ducking season, basically checking all the PBC fighters that nobody's taking easy fights anymore and everything, and then, yeah.
Well, if you look at the landscape at 147, everyone's pretty much tied up. Out of respect for the belts, you got to put the 4 people that have belts, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever order you want to put them in. After that, depending on how you feel, you may put Shawn Porter 5, you may put Amir Khan 5, or you may even put Lamont Peterson 5 if you don't think he lost to Danny Garcia. We have nowhere to go now in terms of he can't fight Amir Khan. He's fighting Virgil. They all fight on Amir Khan, and Berto fights under Virgil Hunter. Felix Diaz is out of the question because he can't garnish a main event on a major network and create 7-figure paycheck for either Berto or Shawn Porter. A gatekeeper at 147 makes no sense at the same point where Shawn Porter is in his career, and obviously where Porter-Berto is in his career. So my question to you is, and boxing fans want to know, who's ducking who, you think?
Well, we don't have a problem. You see, that's the latest REMATCH magazine rankings. We don't have a problem fighting anybody out there. Obviously, our first choice was do the rematch with Keith Thurman. But before we ever fought Keith Thurman, I said, Keith, one time, let's fight 2 times. I wanted to fight 2 times so we didn't have this problem on our next fight. You know what I mean? So, as Berto said, there's no ducking season, and everyone is going to have to fight everyone. Well, you've been told that you have to fight Shawn. You've been told that. Nobody have, time to just make up some stuff, out of the clear blue and say, they said we going. No. This is business. The business, is put a contract together, make a deal, and fight. But the first part of that is you saying yes to the fight so that they can put the rest of it together. And that's what we're waiting on. And that's been known for quite a while.
That word right there, business, that's actually something that Shawn said in the video that was sent out by all media members last night. He said he spoke to the business. Yeah. According to Berto in the Fight Hype article, business hasn't spoken to him. So how is it that there's just a miscommunication going on?
There's no miscommunication. You got somebody in this particular situation that don't want to own up to what's going on. There's no way possible that they haven't told him that you're supposed to fight this guy. That's why when he came out, well, I've been you know, everybody being put on notice that in 2017 everybody gonna fight each other. Translation: you were told you were getting ready to fight Shawn Porter. That was the translation. That was the translation. It's very simple. That was the translation. That's what actually happened. So unless the same person that he deal with, which is the same person that I deal with, I don't run around throwing people's names around. He likes to run around throwing their name around. Okay? So yes, we communicated and we talked. And Shawn was told, yeah, you fight in April. And you're fighting Andre. So I don't think there's any miscommunication or misunderstanding other than the fact that, oh shit, I don't want everybody to know I don't want to fight this guy. So I'm going to keep playing this game, and it's just, it's silly. You know what I mean? He said, you know, that was some schoolyard type stuff, you know, to try to put a fight on without, you know, talking to people. Well, it's schoolyard type stuff to avoid the fact that you've actually been contacted by the person that you needed to be contacted about and told that this is the fight that's on the table for you, and you still act like you don't realize that that's the fight that's on the table. You want to act like you're surprised, like, you know, somebody just jumped out on you. Oh, what are they talking about? No, you know exactly what they're talking about. There's no misunderstanding.
And there was a FaceTime between Shawn and Andre that is common knowledge to everybody. So it's like...
But now you're going to punch Shawn in the face for free. So why don't you go ahead and punch him in the face and get the money?
I'll go get mine.
You know, I was going to ask you, if the Andre Berto fight doesn't happen, and if you don't get that, you know, respectable opponent, a good name, do you feel you're going to be forced to just take any other fight, a guy who's just relatively unknown, in order to just stay active?
They're not going to put us on against an unknown in a main event fight. They just can't do it.
Right.
So we got to get somebody. It's as simple.
Didn't they do it with Danny Garcia? I'm just being honest.
Let me tell you what happened right there. And that conversation was brought to me, and that was not a major network. It wasn't a major venue. It wasn't a major build-up. It was not a major payday.
Right, right.
So when all of that was brought to me, I'm like, I don't want no parts of that.
I mean,
that's not open for consideration. I'm not fighting Joe Blow over at, I don't know, Sam's Casino for, you know, $350,000. That's not happening.
What if they can put it in signing that you get the winner of Garcia versus Thurman, but just have to take a lesser foe, you know, just to stay active, just to keep your son fighting and make sure he's not off for a whole year? Is that a possibility, or again?
No, not in boxing, dude.
Yeah.
You don't take nothing. Oh, we gonna give you something later. No.
Right.
Not in boxing. It ain't gonna happen.
Right.
You either, you know what I'm saying, either we doing it or we wait a little bit longer to get it, you know, or whatever it might be. But, you know,
who's there then for him to take at the moment? Chris Algieri?
I'm not even thinking about that. I'm trying to get Berto in the ring.
So see, that's why. No, but let me ask something right now that he said that. Your thoughts on when that whole ducking season video came out and everything, and the whole you saying he knew about that he needed to fight Shawn Porter, but in between that time, the rumor came around that he was supposedly going to fight Chris Algieri.
I remember that.
I kind of looked at that as a smokescreen. I kind of looked at that as something they were throwing out there to throw people off the trail of Porter-Berto, which was what was actually going on, what was actually the actual discussions that were happening. It's Porter-Berto. So I kind of thought that the other one was just a smokescreen. I didn't really think that was going to happen.
So we obviously know that Shawn Porter is the gentleman of boxing. You are everything to Shawn Porter, from his mentor, his pastor, to his protector. If you could tell Andre Berto in a concise message to convince him to get the fight, what would you tell him?
There's nothing I can tell him to convince him to get the fight. There's absolutely nothing. This is something you gotta want to do, point blank, period. Okay? It's 7 figures on the table. It's a main event on the table. It's a major network on the table. Are you going to take the fight? If you're not going to take the fight, say it for exactly what it is. Don't put it on business isn't being handled. Don't put it on nobody contacted me. Don't put it on anything else, exactly what it is. Because that's exactly what it is. I fully expect at some point in time, there's going to be other people in that weight class, or even at some point he might move to 54, that we're going to have to fight because we have to fight him. We haven't had those situations other than Kell Brook, you know, but we didn't duck Kell Brook. We didn't hesitate. You never heard anything about it had to go to a purse bid or we had to be convinced to take the fight. It happened in a reasonable amount of time. Same thing for Kell Brook now. Go ahead and fight Errol Spence in a reasonable amount of time. You know, so, you know, there's nothing I can say. You know, what was said to me, and point blank and simple, if he's the man that he says he is, he takes the fight.
You and Sean are good friends with Earl Spence, right?
Yeah.
Is that a possibility? The fight to
That's not a possibility at this very moment, because at this very moment, Kell Brook and Errol Spence got a situation going on.
Do you think that fight's gonna happen?
I don't think
going back and forth.
I don't think that. My thoughts are that Kell won't take the fight, and Errol will be fighting somebody else.
Because Eddie Hearn made it pretty clear that they can make more money against Amir Khan.
He'll be fighting somebody else, and we don't have that problem because as soon as we lost the fight to Kell Brook, we were dropped from the top 25 of the IBF, so we don't even have that problem. IBF, you solved that problem. You solved that problem for us.
That fight was so close.
You solved that problem for us. The first rankings you came out with, we're no longer in the top 25.
After losing a very
and we were the champion.
And we were the champion. And when I made that phone call and said to them, listen, dude, just 7-8 weeks ago we were your champion. How is it we're no longer in the top 25? Well, I'm not sure what happened here. I'll have to speak to my selection committee. How is it that you're the president and you haven't spoken to your selection committee? And and we're what, 2 years later, and you never called me back.
Ultimately and finally, if obviously everybody wants the Berto fight, fans, yourself included, Sean and everybody. If we can't get the Berto fight, where does Sean go?
I don't know, but I know it's our date. The same information that we're saying, hey, we should be fighting Berto, the same information is, this is your date. We got this date. So somebody's gonna have to fight, and we'll be fighting somebody, you know, to fight. And the questions that you asked earlier that we weren't on camera with, that might come to pass. You know, I don't want to be that person to bring that stuff out because, you know, these are things that all have to be worked out, you know, and that's the way boxing is. One thing is contingent upon the next thing. It used to be for quite a while, we couldn't fight this person and that person because we had to wait to see who Floyd wanted to fight. Got to find out who Floyd's going to fight before you figure out if you can fight anybody. You got to sit on the sidelines and wait Floyd to pick out somebody. You know what I mean? And, you know, did Berto even show up for that fight? Did he even show up for that fight?
About that earlier.
You know what I mean? Did you even show up for that fight? You were given, you know, this great opportunity, you know, and if you don't like what I said, that's okay. Show up for this one. Make this one happen.
You showed up for the money?
Show up for this one. Make this one happen. Because it's going to be a fight over here. If you're dealing with us, there's going to be a fight. You're talking about punching people in the mouth without the gloves on. That's easy too, but nobody get paid for that. So why don't you just go ahead and sign a little piece of paper that said, oh yeah, I'm going to hit him in the mouth and hit him in the mouth. And I'm going to get 7 figures for it. And keep living.
It's perfect sentence.
But you don't get off easy like you did with Mayweather. You don't get off easy with us that way. Ain't gonna be none of this bullshit going on. Ain't gonna be none of that. It's gonna be a whole lot of this. A whole lot of this. You damn Skippy, it'll be a whole lot of this. It ain't gonna be none of this, and you get to, come on, man. Come in to fight. We just need somebody to fight. So yeah, he a nice guy and everything, but when he get in that ring, he'll be nothing nice.
We know that.
And we can't get a rematch with now. And Adrian don't want to rematch us. Paulie want to talk stuff about us, but he won't rematch us. Kell Brook won't rematch us. Keith Thurman makes us sign a piece of paper that said there will be no rematch. Come on, man. Come on, man. We went to New York when Danny Garcia was talking about Sean is easy. He ain't nothing about, yeah, I can beat him easy. And we came right to New York. Okay, Danny, let's make this thing happen.
That's right.
And they had absolutely nothing to say. absolutely nothing to say. No words for us.
Fred, where can they follow you?
Barbershop Conversations. Hit the subscribe button.
Dominic
Verdeen, 66 on Twitter and Instagram. You can also follow me at Dominic Verdeen on YouTube, and just check out Ring TV and IFL.
exclusively right here at Ken Porter's home. Alright, guys, letting you guys know what the deal is with the back and forth between Shawn Porter and Andre Berto. Thank you guys. Subscribe.
Peace.